Hey everyone, so this is my review of the Orville, Season 1, Episode 4, called If the Stars Should Appear. And essentially what this episode is about is that the Orville encounters this sort of vessel that is adrift in space that's heading towards a star. And they want to figure out what's going on with this ship and who's all aboard and stuff like that. And this was a really entertaining and really fun episode that sort of took the idea of like a first contact sort of episode or thing and took it in a very different turn. And that was really cool that they did do it where the characters had to go out onto this ship and encounter these people that don't realize that they're on board of a ship and don't realize that there is a world outside of what they're living on. And just all that was really interesting with how they chose to approach it. They could have done it a bit better than what they did do, but I can understand it for it being a TV show, so they're under a strict time limit and stuff like that. But it did seem very rushed and really rough when they'd encounter a person and they're like, oh yeah, you're on a spaceship and we're wondering what's going on and stuff, and they don't quite realize that the people don't understand what's going on. So that was a little rough and hard to follow, but still it was really entertaining with how they sort of were led through what's going on this ship and why all these people don't realize that they're on the ship and all this different stuff. It was just really fun and interesting how everyone was led through it all. And then the parts with Alara and Kelly were really interesting, with them sort of getting a very rougher sort of approach than the other rest of the team did, where Alara was shot by some of the guards and then Kelly was tortured because they didn't understand what was going on and who they were and stuff like that, because they didn't know that there was life outside this earth. So that was an interesting approach with all that. And it was also a little weird how they did the stuff where it was suddenly addressed at the very end that, oh, no one on this little biome has ever experienced night. I feel like that was something that should have been addressed earlier and then have it be sort of fixed by the end. Like someone brought up like, oh yeah, we've always had sun or something like that, like I said, ahead of time. Instead of it being like the very last few minutes when the whole team's fixing everything, that they're like talking about like releasing this roof that would show them the stars in space and stuff like that. And then have that be something that they fix later, where they have it where it's like, oh, let's show them what night looks like again. And stuff like that. And I also really enjoyed the whole scene where they just randomly had Liam Neeson show up. And him sort of being like this savior, or this god that everyone on the ship knew when he was just originally their captain. So that was interesting how all that was done. The other part that really kind of annoyed me was the beginning of this episode, where they showed a bit of conflict between Bortus and Clyden and stuff, and like their marriage is going through some troubles. But then that was never addressed again throughout this whole episode, which I feel like, yes, it's going to be addressed in later episodes and stuff like that. But it was really weird to have that be the thing that was introduced at the very beginning of this episode and then never go back to it. I feel like they should have done at least a little bit of something, but they didn't, so that was really kind of weird. But still, I have to say overall that this was a really entertaining episode that did do a really good job with its storyline and was really kind of fun and entertaining and interesting to see how they chose to approach everything. So yeah, that's my review of the Orville, Season 1, Episode 4, called If the Stars Should Appear. So yeah, bye!